Hello everyone, my name is Brendan Snyder. Thank you so much for joining me and welcome to a special review and unboxing for the brand new album from iconic Guns N' Roses guitarist Slash and his band featuring Myles Kennedy and the Conspirators, simply called Number 4. The album itself, this one being a super deluxe edition. We will do a full unboxing of this one here. Just came out on February 11th of 2022. And before we dive into all of this though, if you're new to my channel and you haven't already hit the subscribe button, please click the button. Also leave a comment, hit like, all those things help support my channel. I would greatly appreciate it. And of course, as an added bonus, by subscribing, you'll be able to stay up to date on all that's going on in the world of music, just like this, with looking at a review and unboxing for the brand new Slash featuring Myles Kennedy and the Conspirators, longest band name in all of rock in my opinion, the album called Number 4. But jumping back a little bit here, just a little context to set up this review. Of course, Slash is known as the iconic guitarist from Guns N' Roses. That's what he is most famous for. And the band's classic debut, Appetite for Destruction, that came out in 1987, is one of the biggest albums in all of rock. So not just the era in which it was, but in all of rock, selling more than 18 million copies just in the US and over 30 million worldwide. And in my opinion, it's one of the dirtiest, sleaziest rock masterpieces out there. That album for me is always at the top of my list. I just absolutely love it. Real classic in my opinion. Now, his initial stint in Guns N' Roses lasted for 11 years. A lot of people think it's a lot shorter than that simply because of the time frame in which they were popular and their recording period, but he was in the band from 85 to 96, and then the band itself released 5 albums while he was in the band from 87 to 93. So a lot of times it appears that it was much shorter, but he was actually in it for a little bit longer. And so he began his solo career with Slash's Snake Pit, releasing the debut album, It's 5 O'Clock Somewhere, 1995, and then 5 years later, they finally released a follow-up with a different vocalist called Ain't Life Grand, coming out in 2000. But in 2002, he would join up with fellow GNR members Duff, McKagan, and Matt Sorum for Velvet Revolver, adding in vocalist Scott Weiland, creating a real interesting sound and band here. This one here, their debut, and then following it up a few years later with the second album, so 2 overall from Velvet Revolver. And then in 2010, Slash really stepped out as a solo artist, and he used various musicians contributing vocals to the album, so he didn't sing on it, one of them being Myles Kennedy of Alter Bridge. And that led to the formation of Slash featuring Myles Kennedy and the Conspirators. And so then in 2016, Slash, along with Duff McKagan, rejoined Axl Rose in Guns N' Roses. And now here we are 6 years later, and they finally have released some new material, an EP called Hard Skool. So this thing here, 4-track EP, I have done a full review of it. I'm going to leave a link in the description below. You can check that out. I've also got the cassette edition of this here, and both of those worth checking out, only available on the band's website, so you can head over to Guns N' Roses and order that if you want. But in the interim, while we wait for Guns N' Roses to actually record a full-length album, because who knows how long that's going to take, Slash has provided us with another full-length album of his own, and 4th one overall with Myles Kennedy and the Conspirators. So the album itself features 10 tracks and is 44 minutes long, which is actually one of the shorter length albums that the band has done. I like that though. I actually think that it allows the album to not drag on too long, not overstay its welcome. And the 10 tracks that are on here are all very solid songs. So the album, with its title 4, is the 4th studio album from the lineup, but it's actually the 14th overall album from Slash. And looking into that, I was kind of actually surprised. I mean, I actually own everything that Slash has done, but I didn't realize it was his 14th album overall, because he's done so many different projects in and around Guns N' Roses. And so this is the follow-up to Living the Dream from 2018, and the whole album itself, different than past albums, was recorded live in the studio with everyone playing together. And so the band itself was actually focusing on attitude and sonics as opposed to trying to get it exactly right, meaning recording piecemeal and then snipping it all together kind of a thing, as typically is done in studio recordings. And so my opinion, the album itself is better for it. It's looser, it's more raw, has a much better groove to it overall, I think. I guess that would be the sonics to it. And with each album that Slash has done, I feel like he's moved away from that sound traditional to GNR, relying on that trademark style that he created with the band. Now, earlier albums from the band, I think, were much closer related to the Guns N' Roses sound. They easily could have been interchanged, meaning the songs, oftentimes when listening to it, I could easily hear Axl in place of Myles on these songs. But what I find interesting with this one here is that it seems like they are branching out on this one here. For this one here, it seems like they're moving further away from it, and it could just be the band wanting to expand their horizons, try new things, which I think is all great. But this one here, while still sounding like Slash on it, it is the most varied sounding of any of their albums, in my opinion, and the least closely representative of that Guns N' Roses sound. That's not to mean to say, though, that this is a bad thing. I actually think that's a real positive thing. There's only just so many times you can make sort of the GNR clone sounding song and so forth on it. And again, not that that's a bad thing, but I liked hearing that the band itself, along with Slash, is branching out. In fact, I'm actually hearing a lot of Myles Kennedy's solo material within this. So you got a lot of mix now, because in between all of this, Myles has put out a couple solo albums, and so now you're really getting to hear what he does. You're getting to hear, of course, we know what Slash does, all of that brought together in this. So let's talk about some standout songs in this. Track number 1, The River is Rising, which was the first single off of the album itself, and perhaps the most classic sounding song on here, and closest related to that GNR style sound. Track number 3, C'est La Vie. I really like this one. It's a mid-pace rocker that really branches out. It's got a good groove running all the way through it. Just some cool guitar on it from Slash as well. Of course, everything Slash does is cool, right? Track number 5, I also like this one a lot. Actions Speak Louder Than Words. This one here has a really cool kind of boogie feel to it, and just slithers along, kind of the only way Slash can do on a song like this. Track number 6, Spirit Love. This one here caught me off guard with the Eastern influences. When you hear it, the intro on it pulls that in, and it kind of builds from there, but after a bit it sets in as a really nice chugging rocker through the rest of the song. And then track 7, Fill My World. I also really like this one here. This one has a very strong Sweet Child of Mine feel to it, yet it does carve its own path, and it doesn't retread on the Guns N' Roses classic. But again, I think when you hear the lead guitar intro on this, you will agree with me that it's got that sort of Sweet Child of Mine feel to it. But let's talk about the box set. Let's look at this thing. This is really nice. Now, very simple. All of the album art and everything to this has been very simple, just focusing on the band name itself and the idea that this is number 4. So this is a clamshell style box, but it's actually bigger than I expected it to be, and it just lifts open like that. And then you can see there's stuff right on top. I'm going to lay this down and pull the stuff out that's on it. I will pull off a couple items that we'll see here and show you that there's a book and then CD and so forth. So you're going to see all of that. But before I dive just into breaking that down, I want to point out that there is a single disc version of this. This is the deluxe CD box set version of it, and there is a super deluxe CD and vinyl box set too. So multiple versions of this, but we're talking about the CD box set here. So as I mentioned, it does have the CD in here. There's a cassette, the book, the poster, the patch, but let's take a look at these. So thing I always really like is this guitar pick in this, and it's a real guitar pick. It's not one of those ones that's punched out of the plastic credit card type thing. This one here, if you're a guitar player, you know what I mean, has the real feel of a guitar pick. So very cool. Then there is a patch in this, and it's a cool patch. It's not just a printed, it is actually a sewn fabric patch that has a really nice feel to it. You could easily put that on a jean jacket or something if you wanted to. Got a poster in it. A little small, but just the right size. There you go. Good picture of the band. All right, then we've got a great little book here. This one here, I believe this is a, let me just check, 36-page book Of course, it's got photos and whatnot in it. But there's also an interview up here at the front giving you some background and explanation on the recording process and so forth. So you know how I love to be able to read stuff while I'm listening to my music. Then it's got the lyrics, but it's also got handwritten versions of the lyrics to coincide with this. And just look at how many great photos there are in this thing of them recording. Lots and lots of great stuff throughout this one. Photos on nearly every page of this thing, but very cool book in this thing. Let's pull out the CD in this. So this cool mirrored finish on this, when I was reading about it, they referred to this as a soft pack, and I still refer to this as a digipack, but a soft pack here, 4 colors available. And for me, I got purple color. So I kind of like that. I think those colors there, the red, the purple together, and kind of dependent upon how the light hits it, it's a very cool. And then if we open the thing up, we get that band photo and of course the cool logo there and the back side of it. On the back side of the soft pack or covering, you still get all of that. The CD, because it is the digipack, does just slide out, and I'll just quickly show you guys that part of it. And there's still a booklet inside here that is separate from the one we were just looking at, so that's cool. Now this one here doesn't have the handwritten lyrics or the interviews, but as you can see, it's got color photos of the band and the band members, which is not in the other book. So I like that this one here is different than what we saw as the bigger one. It wasn't just replicated bigger. Now, the coolest thing in all of this is the part that's on the bottom of this. There is a cassette in this, a live rehearsal recording tape. There you go. Full on plastic case and everything. Take out the cassette. It's got 4 tracks on it. It's got side A, You're a Lie, World on Fire. So that's kind of cool. It's got some older stuff there. And side B, again, Driving Rain and Anastasia, or Stasia, if I'm pronouncing that right. Sorry. And then I'll take this out because there's actually inside this, and it was already open when I got it. So if it had been in plastic, I might not have opened it or been able to show you, but I did want to do that since we could take that out like that. So that was recorded on May 28th of 2021. Very cool for them to have included that in here in a nice package. The whole thing itself about 35 bucks, so very reasonable in terms of the price of this. Now, that vinyl box set that I mentioned earlier has a bunch of additional items, including a mini Les Paul replica in there, but it also costs about 5 times as much, as it's over 150 bucks for that box set. But then vinyl prices these days is ridiculous. So bottom line on this, as far as the review is concerned, while the album itself does venture into some new territories, for me it's welcomed. I think it creates a very fresh new album, something different to listen to that I can separate from all of the others. I think everybody is in fine form here, from Slash to Myles to the rest of the guys, and everyone is given room to shine equally on this, which I think has been the biggest benefit of the band recording all live together in the studio. And the album itself is very strong, all 10 tracks on here, very good, making the whole album worth checking out. All right, and there you go. That is Slash featuring Myles Kennedy and the Conspirators. Album 4 review and unboxing for you. For some related videos, as I mentioned, I will have in there a link to the Guns N' Roses Hard Skool EP review if you want to check that out. But also I've got a Guns N' Roses album ranking, and I've even done a Slash versus Duff solo album comparison. So I'm going to put all 3 of those in there if you want to check those out. And certainly, if you can, share this video out on social media, help spread the word. I'm sure Slash would appreciate it, and certainly I would too. All right, everyone, take care, have a great day, and I'll talk to you all real soon. Bye-bye.